Hello and welcome back to the Spa Business Mastery. My name is Kirsten Foss and I am so glad you're here, dear spa owner. All right, we're in December 2023. That means that you are likely crazy busy this time of year at the spa. It just seems like, it's a little quieter. September, October starts building November, and then December, everybody comes out of the woodwork. Not only for treatments, but, this is also our biggest month of the year for gift certificate sales. So you likely have clients trying to squeeze in appointments, lots going on. If you are a solo, just with your own life, your own personal life, if you have a family. And if you have a team, that starts even feeling a little crazier because, when you have multiple people, multiple families, that's a lot to juggle. So, long story short, December feels often like a very chaotic month for the spa industry, and it's really common to just kind of hit the end of the month and feel almost a bit burnt out, if not actually fully burnt out. And now the reason why I want to talk about this is because what normally happens in the spa industry is spa owners are feeling really burnt out, and then January rolls around, and we know that traditionally January can sometimes be a much slower time of year. Consumers have spent a lot of money in December. They've got their visa bills coming in. They're aware of how much money they've spent in December. And so there just seems to not be as much cash flow happening. Excuse me. And so what I want to do for you today is to give you a bit of a framework and some solutions to help manage your January, and not just manage January, but how to actually feel like you're thriving in January, not just kind of barely surviving and scraping along. So I want to give you a guide to thriving your sales and your leadership in January. All right. Now, the first thing I want to get into is that, although we're at the end of the year, and January is a natural time for kind of fresh starts, you may be in December feeling like you haven't had time to do any planning for January or 2024 for your business. And you may be feeling like you're not very organized. You're feeling maybe a little chaotic in your own head about the direction of your business and where it's going. And I don't know if you're anything like me, I like to at least have some sort of plan moving forward. It makes me feel more calm as a leader. It makes me definitely feel more confident as far as what's next and happening. And when I'm feeling calm and confident as a leader, my mindset is much more clear, and my critical thinking is much more on point. So I want to help you with your leadership mindset, dear spa owner, and as well as provide you with some practical, tactical things you can do to help your January be more of a thriving situation. So, when it comes to planning, what I want you to understand is just because there's this kind of collective understanding that the new year is a new start, and there's a collective understanding amongst most businesses that, November and December, we're planning for 2023. I want you to give yourself a break and just to understand that, we see the new year as a collective fresh start, but you can restart anytime you want. It's more of a, you can press restart whenever is convenient for you. And so I guess really what I want you to know is, just because you don't feel super organized for your 2024 before January 1st, that's okay. You can carve out some time to start some planning in January. Maybe it's even late January, maybe it's in February. That's okay too. Now, if you don't even know where to start with your planning, I would suggest to head back into November 2023 to my business podcast, because there is a planning workshop in there. So I'm not going to repeat what's in there. You pop on over and grab your pen and paper, and that should help you get started with what you need to do for your own spa business planning day. Okay, number 2 and how to thrive in sales and your leadership in January is to give yourself a break. Now, I know when we're feeling cash strapped, it's feels counterintuitive to give ourselves a break. There's this sense that we have to push harder, that the only way we're going to get through this particular struggle as if we push harder, push harder. But what I know for sure in, oh my gosh, how many years have I been an entrepreneur? um, 30, not quite 30, but, getting up there. And, I know that especially as a spa owner, because December is so crazy busy at work on top of my personal life, it was a very common timing for me to, at the end of December, feel 100% burnt out. Like I had nothing in my gas tank to be innovative for the upcoming year. And so, yeah, give yourself a break. So you might not be able to do it at the end of this December, but I think this is a really valuable time to assess. And perhaps you can maybe take a couple of extra days off between Christmas and New Year's. Maybe you can take the whole week. I know that there's definitely spas with teams that take the whole week between Christmas and New Year's off. It's part of, their healthy team building, creating a healthy team culture by giving everybody the week off. So, you can either adjust your hours or you can close them completely. It's entirely up to you and how you want to run your business. But if you are slow, then, you don't have to be working just because you said you were going to be open. You can make plans to adjust your hours to help you as a leader manage your energy and to help your team, if you have a team, to manage their energy. They're exhausted at the end of December, right? All those little appointments get squeezed in, it takes wear and tear for sure on everybody. Now, the other piece is, if you wished you had taken time off between Christmas and New Year's this year, and it's just not possible, that's okay. Go into next year's schedule. If you've got Vagaro or Mevo or any of them, just go in right now and block off between Christmas and New Year's, just so you know it's done. Now, the other piece here about give yourself a break is to, if you have a team in particular, or yourself as well, if January is a slower time for you, encourage team members to take some vacation time. Now, for those of us that live in the Northern Hemisphere, especially in Canada and the northern states, it gets really cold here during the winter. And many of us will take a 1-week vacation down to Mexico or just somewhere warm. And so if you do have team members that maybe want to do that, encourage them. Okay, number 3 for how to have thriving sales and leadership in January is to schedule training in January. Now, this again is both for spas with teams as well as solos. So if you're a solo and you're quiet, block off time for online training or in-person training somewhere. If you have a team, I would actually recommend, whether your team or solo, I would actually recommend doing a service analysis. Take a look at those services that really didn't book well. Like there wasn't a lot of people didn't call for them. This would be a great time to take a peek and see are these services because the training needs a little bit polishing up, or are these services that clients just really, our ideal client, are truly not interested in. But either way, I definitely find with teams that there are services that could use some polishing up. And January would be a really great time to get the team in and do some team training together. The other piece about looking at scheduling training in January is for the individual team members. So this is where looking at KPIs are so, tracking and looking at KPIs are so important. Particularly if you have a team, you need to be tracking your individual team members' KPIs, because this is how you can tell if we maybe have a staff member that needs more training. We can go into their KPIs and start seeing some flags in the play. Like if their productivity isn't very high, why are they consistently not booked? If their first visit retention is really low, that's a big flag in the play in terms of something's happening in the treatment room that needs some attention. And the other piece for training here is team training for KPIs. So if you are, if your training, the service training is totally polished, and maybe in 2024, one of your goals is to, dig into your metrics, your KPIs, track them better, use them, analyze them better. When you're tracking your KPIs, you can very easily take a look at individual team members and see which metrics they need work on. You could use time in January for training, doing team KPI training, so that everybody is working towards the same goals. So schedule training in January if it's quiet. Okay, number 4, my recommendation is if you need cash flow, that I don't have much cash flow for training right now. I can't take time off work. Totally understandable. So if you need to have more bookings in January, there's one particular piece here I want to talk about, and that's a service feature. This is different than a monthly special. Now, a service feature is something that is not on your regular menu. It's featured. It comes on and off, however, whenever you want to do that. I did mine often, like once a year. You want to create a new protocol. So again, like it's something not on your menu, it's named something differently, and there's a specific protocol for it. Now, this treatment needs to be relevant to your niche, to the season, and to your ideal client. So for example, so January is a perfect time, especially in the cooler climates, where you could feature a winter facial or a winter hydrating facial. And this would be a facial that's specifically for dry, chapped, dehydrated skin. If people are, playing a lot outdoors, if they work outdoors, we all know as estheticians that can really strip the skin barrier and cause a lot of discomfort. So having a relevant feature like a winter skin recovery feature facial would be a really great alignment for what your clients are experiencing this time of year. Now, as far as pricing, you keep them at the same price as your regular facials, keeping into consideration any kind of top shelf products that you're including in there, as well as you can actually even put the price up a little higher than what your normal facials are, because it's a feature. But again, the pricing piece will depend on what your ideal client is and what your market will bear. Now, this is very different. A feature is very different than a special. A special would be something that's on sale. This is why I like features, because they're not on sale. It is just something that is different than what you have on your regular menu. So for example, in the summertime, I actually used to offer a margarita pedicure. OPI had this really great smelling lime body lotion and scrub, and it smelled just like a lime margarita. And so what I did every August was that was my monthly feature. And I served a virgin lime margarita, and I actually charged more than I did than my regular pedicure. And my clients looked forward to that every year. So this is how you can use features really strategically for, slower times of the year or even busier times of the year. Okay, another idea in terms of getting more bookings is that you could if you have any gift with purchases left over from your holiday specials or bundles or anything like that, you can repurpose them and use them as a gift with purchase for that, say, seasonal facial. And now when you are marketing with January sales, because it can kind of feel like, nobody's looking at social media, people are spent out, spent all their money. I would still send out 2 emails a month, one at the very beginning of the month to announce the feature, a second email mid-month to remind. I would also, and this is, this kind of goes against the grain of the digital era, because sometimes folks, I feel like, there's so much talk about automation and stuff that we sometimes lose touch with actually calling people or, reaching out in person, like connecting with them that way. So, I'm a fan of, having a VIP list and reaching out to them personally and giving them a personal invite to that particular feature. Doesn't hurt. I know some people are like, oh my God, I don't call anybody. Nobody wants to answer the phone these days. Hey, if you are short on cash and you need bookings, this is how you hustle it. You actually get on the phone and start calling clients. Or even maybe sending them a personal email rather than a mass email to all your clients. You want them to feel special, those VIPs, and calling them and giving them a personal invite is special. All right, so that is my podcast for today, helping you to feel like you're actually have a chance of thriving in January. There's nothing worse than, like feeling like, oh, it's another January. I've got to just like drag myself through it, drag the team through it, try to get everybody through it. And it feels so much better when we go into these kinds of situations with a plan, not only just a practical plan for like getting more bookings. It's equally as important, my dear friends, to get our mindset right so that we are looking at these situations from a point of view of being solutions based, right? And not feeling just completely overwhelmed, exhausted, and like your critical thinking skills are just not happening. So if you would like some support, if you need some support, I'm always here for you, dear spa owner. There's a couple of ways that we can connect. You can email me at kirstenfoss.com. You can find me on any of my social platforms. And just shoot me a DM if you are like worried about January coming up and it's traditionally really slow, and maybe you want to do this with somebody because it's, Lord knows, it's a lot easier to to work with a mentor or a coach to get these ideas and strategies implemented so that they're not just sitting on your desk and they're kind of more of a hope and a prayer. All right, my friends, it's mid-December. I wish all of you the best holiday season with you and your clients and your family. Wrapping up 2023, I am so excited for 2024. This year went so fast. And I am going to be starting another episode of podcast starting in January 2024. And I'm going to actually be doing just a little numerology monthly forecast specifically for all of us in the spa industry. And the numerology forecast, I'm going to be talking about the energetic frequency for each month and how you can use them in your leadership and your sales. All right, folks, have a wonderful holiday. We'll see you in January.